I actually used to work in New York City government, and so I was introduced to AHC way back, probably like 2009. It was because they were helping with the Regional Catastrophic Preparedness Grant Program for the New York City OEM grant. It was for the whole region, so they were there that were kind of facilitating across the different jurisdictions. And that, so when I started working for CNS, I joined a meeting that was in Philly that was the multi-hazard fleet working group that the All Hazards was kind of facilitating too. It was more focused on the electric sector, but in attending those events, that's where, of course, you just kind of network, you meet other people, they start hearing about the food sector. And then eventually I went to the same meeting that Pat went to that was at the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. So I would say that was like the immediate benefit, is just seeing that and them hearing, again, like from a private sector perspective, these meetings or these groups they can easily disband or just not have enough if people aren't engaged in it. And so it is nice to see the government partners on the other side, like really actively wanting to help. The food sector is in general just like a just-in-time cycle of order to billing to delivery. And so the earlier that we know about any type of changes, we can attempt to try and move deliveries off of that particular day. I mean, the other thing was in one of these meetings, somebody brought up that there was some letter that was written and approved by like the director of FEMA, but it was years ago. And so the current FEMA director at the time was like, that is not valid anymore. Do not use that letter, which is helpful, right? Like don't send your drivers out with this letter and then they still kind of get ticketed, right? And so that's helpful. It's like, don't have like old stuff lying around, or like, really, that is not an accurate letter. That's not really going to prevent you from getting stopped or anything, like, kind of on the legal grounds, what is your risk or not? And like, I think it also opened up the eyes from the private sector to the public sector. Why are they doing some of this stuff? And one person that I definitely met with in this group that I continue to kind of meet on different conferences, and I think he's a great guy, is Todd Lease-Life. He's from the DOT side, I believe. And he's really concerned about the public safety. One accident during the winter season on a major interstate causes several more accidents, and then hours of us trying to like clean that up. And then also just regular stats about when there is an accident, the risk of the first responder trying to help increases the fatality probability for someone.
Absolutely.
And so like that is that to private sectors, like it is very clear. Yeah. Like we understand why you're doing it. And so it just kind of helps with, again, the relationship and being truthful to each other as to why we're trying to make these decisions.